During a random night, a vampire attacks and kills civilians while crying in agony. Takashi Sawazaki leads Police Division 5 to capture the vampire, also known as the Devil, who drank the blood of a woman. The vampire tries to escape, however, he gets captured by Jill, another devil working for the police. Meanwhile, a white-haired guy possessing a left vampire's eye watches all the action from a distance. Later, Tsukasa Taira, a college student, senses someone is watching her as she rides the metro with her classmates. Shouted Akimura and Miwako Totemoko show them the news on recent murders committed by vampires. However, Akimura strongly dismisses the vampire theory. After dropping off the train, Tsukasa and Kimura walk home. Kimura tells Tsukasa he likes her indirectly, but she doesn't understand his intentions to get out of the friend zone. On the way, Tsukasa feels the same mysterious presence following her again. Kimura takes her away to a dark alley and tries to console her, embracing her in his arms. Suddenly, the mysterious guy that Tsukasa is always oddly feeling around shows up, separating both of them. The guy claims that Kimura is a vampire, the one who recently killed 3 women. Akimura proclaims to be innocent, but there's DNA proof, plus his eyes turn red as he smells and sees blood. Later, it is revealed that the mysterious boy's name is Anzai, who is working with the cops. He contacts Sawazaki and fills in the report about capturing Kimura. He takes Tsukasa and leaves Kimura for the cops to take him in, dropping Tsukasa at her apartment. Anzai notices a cut on her face. He impulsively licks her blood and kisses her. Doing so, his eyes turn red, into the eyes of a vampire. It's been a month since the incident with Tsukasa. One night, Tsukasa, to her surprise, finds Anzai behind her window. Anzai asks her if she is worried about Kimura and how he can let her see him. Meanwhile, he suddenly receives a duty call and leaves for the crime scene, leaving his wallet behind. Anzai finds out that Yuuko, the suspect, has regretfully killed her husband, giving in to her vampire instincts. Tsukasa, who followed Anzai to return his wallet, witnesses everything. Anzai later tells Tsukasa that the suspect woman was a friend, and they both grew up together at an orphanage. Tsukasa goes to Professor Akiya to return a book. He invites her in and tries to sexually assault her. Anzai breaks in enraged. He changes into his vampire state and starts punching Professor Akiya, leaving him half dead. Tsukasa's voice stops Anzai, and he leaves. 2 weeks later, Anzai visits Tsukasa at her place. When she pretends to be asleep, she tells him she wears his jacket because it makes her have fewer nightmares. They hug each other as she cries in his arms. Tsukasa learns about Anzai's suspension. Tsukasa meets with her friend Moako. Moako soon learns about Anzai and Tsukasa and gets worried. She tells Tsukasa that she can't trust someone she just met a few months ago. On her way back with groceries, a man bumps into her. He apologizes and helps her pick up groceries off the ground and runs away. Anzai catches up to her, and they walk back home together. Later, they find the same man behind the window of Tsukasa's room. On the same evening, there happens to be a victim with multiple stabs all over her body. Jill finds out that the murder was committed by a human restaurant manager who was trying to make it look like his employee vampire did it. Hugging her, Anzai finds out that Tsukasa is not feeling well. With his vampire's eyes, he lets her rest and gives himself a sedative to wear off his vampire self. Sawazaki, while investigating a new murder case, finds out that someone is hunting down vampires. He then warns Jill and Anzai as they could be the next target. Later in the evening, Anzai visits Tsukasa while he gives her a present and confesses to her. The next moment, he is shot in his shoulder by a bullet coming through the window. The sniper shoots him again, and as a result, Anzai chases the sniper. Anzai chases down the sniper girl and fights with her. The sniper, enraged, shows her hatred towards vampires, as one of their kind murdered her mother. Baffled by her story, he loses focus, and the sniper girl shoots him in the lungs. Anzai is saved by a white-haired guy, Hansley, who offers her blood in a bag to heal his wound. Anzai goes berserk because he has no tolerance for human blood. Sawazaki investigates Tsukasa along with the cops. Sawazaki ends up taking Tsukasa with them, tracking Anzai. She lets them know Anzai didn't lick her wound. Anzai rampages towards the sniper, and the next moment is hit by a van. She tries to run away as the white-haired guy tries to stop Anzai. Anzai captures the sniper just in front of Sawazaki's car. Jill reaches the scene and tries a meaningless effort to stop Anzai. With the help of Hans, they manage to capture Anzai and sedate him. While trying to find Anzai and circling the area of the recent incident, Tsukasa finds Hans instead. Hans explains to her how he can control his bloodlust. Sawazaki visits Anzai, telling him about the ending of his suspension and that he is not a devil but a cop. Later, 015, a companion of the sniper girl, cuts a weather forecaster in public to awaken a nearby vampire. Jill, among two people from Squad F at Bar Saki, watches the incident report. Jill transforms into a vampire by watching the scene through television and is about to attack Sawazaki when Anzai, with a gas mask on that blocks color and smell, stops Jill. Tsukasa and Hans witness the whole scene. Hans leaves Tsukasa to stop the devil vampire. Meanwhile, another devil tries to attack Tsukasa. She runs off to a plaza where Anzai saves her from the bloodsucking devil. Anzai tries to run away from Tsukasa after watching her hand bleeding, but Tsukasa insists on him staying with her. While telling Tsukasa, Anzai figures out that half-devils are not possible. At that moment, Tsukasa confesses that she also likes him. Anzai notices some cops coming their way and he clings to the wrong end of the balcony, holding Tsukasa. He notices the effect of the sedative hasn't worn off yet, and he then pushes Tsukasa back to the balcony rail. While falling, however, Hans appears and saves him. Chief Kikuhara of Squad A meets with Tsukasa and Anzai later. Tsukasa hands Anzai Gatabar Sakaki for the night. Tsukasa tries to convince Anzai about blood tolerance, which could ultimately also extend his short life of 39. She promises to give him blood every day so he can extend his life and they can be together. Meanwhile, Ren Murakami stabs 07, is a part of the mission when 07 tries to argue about the safety of human lives. It is then revealed that Kikuhara is working with CCC, the organization that 07 and 015 are part of. Murakami calls Kikuhara 02 and is stabbed by him while Katajiri witnesses the scene. Tsukasa insists Anzai take her blood daily so he could elongate his lifespan. It shocked him, he then blames Hans big time for that. Shirtless on the roof, Anzai thinks about Hans' words to him and admits that he can't protect anyone in this state. 07, on the other hand, finds herself in the hospital when Kikuhara comes and tells her about the execution of Plan B. Sawazaki. At a meeting with higher officials, learns that all the devils have been relieved of their duties. Katajiri is shot by a man but avoids any vital injury. Sawazaki reaches the scene and tries to chase the man. Sawazaki then orders Anzai to support the devil's victim, and Zion hands reach out and save Katajiri from the killer. Anzai poses the question to Sawazaki if Katajiri is being targeted because of his witness to the Ikebukuro crime scene. At that, an old man from a height sees them and calls Hans and Anzai children of the light and children of the darkness, respectively. On arriving at a location where Tsukasa and others meet with Anzai and the party, Katajiri then tells them that the victim was thrown from the building instead of committing suicide. As they were taking Katajiri to the hospital to treat his injuries, 07 escapes the hospital from the window of the room down through the wall and suddenly takes Tsukasa hostage, demanding to give her keys to a vehicle. 07 takes the vehicle with Tsukasa as a hostage. Meanwhile, Anzai is introduced to a friend of Dr. Yanagi for some counseling to control his devil powers. Tsukasa learns that 07 doesn't attack humans and is after the devils only. During Anzai's counseling, Jill gets a call that Tsukasa is taken hostage by 07. Anzai tries to go look out, but Han successfully stops Anzai by reasoning that 07 only hates the devils and doesn't harm humans. 07 finds out that a devil with dark circles under their eyes means they haven't drunk human blood. It happens to be an eye-opener for 07. On the rooftop, Anzai asks Hans to save Tsukasa from him if he transforms in front of her. Meanwhile, 07 finds out that their location has been found and that 06 and 05 are coming for them. 05 approaches the room and finds Tsukasa tied up. Tsukasa recognizes 05. 07 had warned her about him and had told her about him being the traitor. 05 takes Tsukasa with him in the lift. Tsukasa musters up the courage to attack 05 with a taser given to her by 07 and runs away. Tsukasa calls Barsaki, tells Anzai her location, and hides in a room. 05 immediately finds her, and as she is about to be shot, she jumps from the window, and Anzai saves her and clings to a wall, turning himself into his devil form. Tsukasa finds out that the bullet that 05 shot at her was blocked by the taser, while 06 shoots at Anzai and Tsukasa with a sniper, but 07 shoots back 06 from the other location. Kikuhara learns that the hostage of 07 is Anzai's lover and is saved by her. Sawazaki learns about C. Anzai takes bloodlust training with Tsukasa as a part of the training. Kikuhara proposes a new leader for the F Squad. A public protest starts against the devils at a conference invited by Akio Kano. Anzai meets with a woman who tells Anzai that he looks like someone she knows. Later, it is revealed that the woman is Anzai's mother named Midori Anzai. Midori tells a chained devil about how Anzai has grown up. Lieutenant Ishimaru is newly appointed as captain to Squad F. He calls on everyone in the squad, including Hans and Tsukasa, to meet with them being suspected of trust issues. Ishimaru tells them to have a background check on him. Ishimaru eavesdrops on Anzai and Tsukasa talking about 07, and 09 as Ishimura suggests using Tsukasa for 07 and 09 to negotiate. Hans goes to her doctor friend to get blood supplies for himself. There, he remembers his painful past. 07 agrees to negotiate with Squad F on the condition that they investigate a man named Kenichi Morisawa, a devil who died 15 years ago. While doing investigations, they found the connections between Nanako Tenju with codename 007 and Kikuhara. Nanako confirms her doubts about Kenichi Morisawa from the investigation reports of Squad F. She decides to help them in stopping Kikuhara, revealing that he is 02. During the mass devil vigilante protest, Anzai encounters the former Professor Akiya. Akiya throws blood-filled balloons at Anzai, turning his eyes partially red. Eventually, Anzai turns into the devil completely, exposing him to the public. Ishimaru stops Anzai on the train. Ishimaru later intrigues Anzai into a fight to test his limits of control over the devil's powers. Ishimaru calls Anzai's control a form of benign transformative reaction. Ishimaru then moves to the next stage by offering him his blood but is stopped by Sawazaki. Squad F decides to break into C's headquarters to get their roster and to find out the main motives of Kikuhara behind the organization. Tsukasa and Anzai think back to the recent memories they had together. Ishimura and Sawazaki, along with Anzai and Nanako, start the mission to take 09 to the main computer. Squad F is ambushed by devils at the C hideout. Ishimaru and Sawazaki have trouble with the devils. Anzai comes to their rescue and kills all of the devils. The newest member of Squad F finds out that Ishimaru is not what he tells himself to be. Later, Ishimura admits that he is numero 13 Jason and eventually reveals that he is a double agent working for the Public Security General Affairs Investigation Division 6 Section 11. Ishimura also reveals that there is another agent working undercover who is Makimura, the 05. Mikimura points a gun toward Kikuhara from behind and tries to turn him into the HQ, but Kikuhara makes a nearby sniper shoot him. Kikuhara takes a sniper and shoots Anzai, Tsukasa, and Hans. In order to save Anzai, Tsukasa asks Hans Lee to take her to Anzai. Tsukasa, with Lee's help, reaches the nearly dying Anzai and offers him her blood. As a result, Anzai is saved from dying. Lee takes Tsukasa and hands her to the police, telling them about her blood loss. Anzai recollects his memories of lying on the floor unconscious. He sees himself as a child with Kikuhara in his memories and finds out about his father, Tamaki Anzai. Anzai wakes up in a hospital and finds out that Tsukasa is out of danger with her left arm broken. Sozaki learns from a high official that Squad F is resolved as Kikuhara reaches for a car and it blows up with a huge blast. Tsukasa wakes up, calling Anzai's name, and finds Moako near her. Tsukasa learns from Ishimura about Anzai being forced to retire from the force and to be put under strict surveillance not to see Tsukasa. Kano tells Anzai about his father, Anzai, and Tsukasa see each other. Tsukasa and Anzai confess their love for each other as Anzai leaves for surveillance. After a long time, Tsukasa is on a rooftop, writing about her research on how humans can coexist with devils. Surprisingly, Anzai appears, and they complement each other. Watch